Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Wednesday with the Diamond Riders. It is the Hustle and Shine podcast. I am One True Phoenix here with the lovely Lady J.A., and we are heisting this week's podcast. Are y'all ready for us? All
Let's
right.
get into it.
Let's get into it. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about. Um, it's so funny. We came up with this topic like kind of like out of the spur of the moment, just in a regular everyday
Conversation.
conversation.
Right.
Life be life in, and then we were just talking, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I think we got a topic. So, but how was your
Worked out.
yeah? How was your week so far?
My week is good. The usual hustle, work, get everybody to their activities after, and then try to cook and everything else. But, it's good. Good things.
Good
Can't
things,
complain about those things.
good problems.
Good problems. Right.
Yeah, I'm
How
still
about you?
recovering. I'm still recovering from the weekend. Baby girl turned 15 last week.
Ooh. Not
So,
ready? The moment?
you know what it is? In all honesty, it's the sweet 16 that's loaded. When I tell you the elaborate plans that she has for this party, and I'm gonna let her have it. I'm gonna let her have it within reason.
Right.
You know, she wanted to do hot pot, which was interesting. It was about 12 of us at hot
Okay.
pot. And I realized that we basically paid to cook our own food.
Food. Yes. Yes. That's exactly right. I've been to one of those. Yes.
It was interesting, but that's what the kids wanted to do. I was like, yo, this is a gimmick here. We just paid for some frozen food. And
But you
then
got to pick your broth. You got to pick your broth.
but wait, because we were a party of 12, they hit us with the automatic gratuity. It was
Oh,
like,
yes.
hold up, wait a minute. All y'all bought us out was raw things.
Oh, yes. That's right. Automatic. But the presentation was nice.
It was. And it would be something that I'd want to do again, maybe with just a handful of adults, because
Okay.
these kids was throwing all kinds of sauce, and they
So she had a good time.
yes, they did
Sounds
have a
like a
good
good
time.
time.
The
That's
kids
what's
had definitely had
important.
a good
That's what's important.
time. And so, we are a women's empowerment group here, and we got Mother's Day coming up, and
Oh,
that could be
yes.
such a bittersweet time for some people. The dynamics and the relationships between mothers and their children. Some
Yeah.
have excellent relationships, some have rocky relationships,
Some have none.
some have none. So if you're going to be celebrating Mother's Day or honoring a mother figure in your life, congratulations, and much love and blessings to everybody.
Absolutely.
And today I'm wearing purple. It's World Lupus Day.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yes, it's World Lupus Day. So one of the women in one of my social circles shared that today is World Lupus Day, and she encouraged us to wear purple. So we all broke out in the purple.
Nice.
So
Nice. Good to support.
yes, you got to support the sisters wherever they are.
That's right. My good friend, my best friend actually has lupus. So, yeah, it affects so many women in so many ways. So,
Yeah,
definitely should be acknowledged and supported.
absolutely. So let's get ready to jump into this topic. Okay, so it is time to pour the tea. And we are talking family dynamics, the iniquities in families, because we not all equal here. All right. And we're talking about the black sheep of the family. We're talking about the bossy eldest,
Hmm.
why they're that way, the baby that don't grow up. All right. So
Prodigal.
the prodigal son or daughter. Woo. So where do you fall in that? Because I know I pick up a couple of those different ones, and I know I've been guilty of creating a couple of those too.
Oh, I think that they can be defined differently depending on perspective. I mean, we all know it has like an official like definition and thought process behind it, but myself, I could be probably thought as the prodigal child.
Mm,
And that's based on what, right? It's based on uh I think the expectation of the parent for their child and who kind of achieves it and who doesn't.
Right.
Right. But that could be so many things. That could be so many things. And I only feel that way based on what I've been told.
Right.
Not that I felt like I was treated any different or done anything different.
So you wouldn't call yourself that. You were labeled that by the others in the family?
Yes.
Mm. How did that make you feel?
Or the favorite.
You're the favorite?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Because I had to actually go and look that one up. Like, I know it stems from the Bible, and I was like, well, who was the prodigal son, right? And so when I read the story, basically it was like, a man had two sons, and one of them couldn't wait to inherit his, get his inheritance, basically. And so the father divided his wealth between the two sons, and one son stayed and one left and like spent all of the money and then had to come back home, and he didn't have anything. And I thought that was kind of weird, because the way that I basically interpreted the prodigal son and daughter is that they come back home, but they come back home to take care of others. So I don't
See,
know.
I'm thinking of prodigal, the one that kind of does everything the right way.
Uh-huh.
You're talking about prodigal, which is totally different. So
Okay.
so if we're going based on that, no, that's not me. Then I probably am the oddball out, and I would be the black sheep.
Okay.
Which most people would think is negative.
Nah.
Some people would, like, because the black sheep is usually thought to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I'm just saying different.
Right.
Just that surface definition of just being different from the others around you.
Well, we happen to be in a circle of cycle breakers and change makers. So if you're going to call me the black sheep of the family because I'm the oddball out, because I'm stepping away from toxic behaviors, toxic traits, things that didn't work in the family, well, then label me the black sheep, because bye-bye.
Just doing something different from them the others did.
Right.
That's how I'm looking at it. If I had to pick one.
Yeah. So you would consider yourself the black sheep of the family, but the family has labeled you the prodigal daughter. That's interesting, because that there's a way that we look at ourselves and how we analyze and interpret our lives, and then there's the way that people from the outside look in at us.
Yeah.
And so, coming from certain circles, coming from certain family dynamics, if you happen to have a decent job, or you have a career that you enjoy, you bought your home instead of living in an apartment, you send your children to school, they're like, oh, they think they better than us. But again, that's something that they're putting on you, a label that others are perceiving you, when you're just like, I'm still out here just trying to strive and survive and maintain.
I'm
not
just
doing
living.
anything special.
I'm just living. And I wasn't labeled that by siblings. At least I don't think. At least it wasn't ever told me. But just from what others would say. But where would you put yourself?
We haven't gotten to me yet. I was parentified.
Really?
Yes.
You were the raisin?
I was definitely parentified. I'm my mother's oldest child, the oldest of 6.
Okay.
And once you're the oldest sibling, things automatically just like fall up underneath your umbrella. Like, I can't tell you how many times, as my mother's oldest child, as the oldest grandchild in the family, therefore the oldest cousin in the family, how many times I got blamed because these kids did something. They were like, oh, they must have saw you do it, or why weren't you watching them? Them ain't my kids.
Yeah.
I'm a kid myself.
Right. Now I got to be accountable for them.
Right. But where it really took shape and started molding was when I was 14, and my mom gave birth to my twin brothers.
Oh.
And she had a C-section, and my dad was working overnights, and so I essentially moved into the room with her to help her at night with them, you know. So at 14, they were born in June, their birthday's June 4th, and
Oh.
so for the last like 3.5 weeks of school, I was getting up doing like 2 a.m. feedings and changing diapers, and then having to get up and go to school in the morning,
Wow.
because my mom needed the help. And then on the weekends, I was going to wash their little onesies and
Yeah, their
stuff like
clothes.
that, boiling water, making formula, because my mom, on top of having the twins, there were the siblings that were in between, the three siblings that were in between, plus there were cousins. So it was just like my mother had so much going on
Yeah.
that part of it was an ask of her, like, Tiff, I need your help with these things. And part of it was, if I don't do it, nobody else is.
Mm.
And the crazy thing is, those twins are going to be 33 years old, and I'm still in this role of being the caregiver
Care of
in my
them.
family. Like,
So
it shows up big time. Like, I am
wow.
always like the big sis who's gonna come in and like try and save the day and give advice. And man, sometimes they just be like, Tiff, shut the hell up.
Mind your business. Leave me alone.
Exactly.
We grown.
Right. I be like, then act like it. So we got some comments coming in. We just getting started. So let's see what's happening here. So coming in first, of course, you know, we got the lovely Natima Cherie, our queen pen. She says, yes, love to all the mothers and mother figures out there. Listen, like, she the mother of the Diamond Writers. We all
That's
grown
right.
women here. Some of us older than her, but she the mama here. She keep us on our P's and Q's.
Keep us in check.
Yes, Jess says, showing love and support to my best friend who has lupus. Thank you, Jess. And thank you for joining us on YouTube. Yes. So
Yes.
if you are here, remember to not only engage in this content, don't forget to share it. Don't forget to subscribe to us and everything it is that we have going on. You know, the Diamond Writers have 1,001 projects happening, and you definitely want to be aware of what's happening, when it's happening, and how you can be a part of it. So we're going to have one more comment before we jump into the next role. And this is coming from our MVP, Miss Mel. She says, I was the aunt raising her nieces and nephews and then raising their kids too.
Wow.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about how, you know, sometimes we never escape these roles, even when we don't want them anymore.
That's right. But you feel this obligation to look out for your family and make sure they're good.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's appreciated and received well, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm the baby.
Oh, are
I'm the
we getting ready?
baby.
Are we
Of,
getting ready to go into the next topic?
I'm
Are
the
we
baby.
getting ready to go into the next? The opposite of the older parentified child is the baby who won't grow up. The grown baby. I wouldn't say that's true.
No.
Nah, you handle your business.
I try. I was just saying, you know, your experience as being the oldest and looking out. I am the baby of my mother's children because my father has 7, my mother had 3, and my siblings are 10 and 12 years older than me on my mother's side.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the surprise. And I find that, you know, again, like I said, I want to look out, I want to help my family where I can. So that's what I try to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I'm the grown up baby in a different way. You know,
Right.
I try to look out and, you know, where I can help. And if advice is asked of me, I do, you know, offer it. My nephew was born when I was 9. So, you know, even though I'm his aunt, kind of like No, I'm his aunt, never brother and sister. But I always wanted to look out for him and love on him and be there for him. And my other nephew too. He was born when I was 12. But they were all, he was a very sickly baby, and I was right there as much as I could be to help take care of him because I wanted to,
Hmm.
just be supportive and make them feel loved. That's just, I guess, the nurturer inside of me.
Yeah. So this is one of the things that you and I have in common is I too come from a blended family. I'm the oldest of my mother's children, but I am my biological father somewhere in his fold of middle children. And so there are different dynamics there. And I see that same thing repeating in my family. So, my family, my husband and I blended two families. So, I had three daughters, he had two sons, and they literally, like, we folded them in, like, you're shuffling cards and everything like that. Our youngest, my youngest bonus boy is 11. He is the baby of our family,
Okay.
but he has older siblings. When he goes to his mother, he is an only child. And so
Oh,
there's some major
big
shifts
difference.
there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, um, where she may coddle him and this is her baby, this is her only child. Because he's the baby here, it's he gets some babying, but there's certain things like we've been through that baby phase already. So it's like now you got to be a big
Be
boy here,
responsible. Yeah.
right? We teach responsibilities over here. So and it could be rough on him initially when he was younger. The transitional days between when he would come from his mom to us were a little bit rocky because it's a shift in the household and the role that he plays, and
Right.
where he wouldn't have to share, he has to share here,
Mm-hmm.
where especially the television, what like,
You can't, it's just not about you.
right, it's not about you, it's about all of us.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing about the blend of our family is that my middle child stayed a middle child.
Hmm.
She never, so there was
Oh,
an
right.
older boy and an
Two
older
older.
girl, and then there was
Okay.
a younger boy and a younger girl, and there she was stuck in the
Still
middle.
in the
So
middle.
she's my middle child, and then she's the family middle child. And so her role didn't change, but
Now there's
there
more.
was still some shifts there for her. She's like, I just can't win from lose. Just I'm just ride the middle. I'm just here.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's an adjustment. That's an adjustment, but it could be good for them, especially, your youngest, the 11-year-old. Like, hopefully he'll appreciate having those siblings.
oh,
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, to go, it's a big difference. You go
yeah.
home and you're just you. It's just you there, right?
Hmm.
Then you come over to your dad's and your bonus mom, and you have all these siblings around you. Like, it's a
Yeah.
whole different world. Like, you don't have to worry about entertaining yourself. You got people you can talk to and confide in, and like, I think all of that stuff is important.
Yeah. And I think one of the cutest things that's happening right now is the oldest daughter made us grandparents. And so there is, the grandson in the house, and MJ's 11 and Legend is getting ready to be 5. So there's that similar age difference between you and your nephew. And you cannot tell Legend that MJ is not his brother. He comes in, he's like, "Where's my brother?" Like, "That's your uncle." "That's my brother." Like, okay. And I get that because I actually have an aunt who's 4 years older than me, and I never looked at her like she was my aunt. That's my older sister. Like, she was my first best friend.
It's about the kind of relationship you have with the person. That's
Yeah.
really how you define it.
But that baby though, woo, when they want to be a baby.
Don't do
And
that.
I don't want to raise any of them to be the baby that doesn't grow up, including the youngest daughter who we still call baby girl to this day. That's the one that just turned 15. And she's bigger than everybody.
But
I don't
she'll
know.
always be the baby girl. That doesn't mean that she'll be the one that doesn't grow up.
I hope not.
But she'll always be the baby girl. That won't change. That title is not going to change, but that doesn't mean she'll be the one that won't grow up.
Yeah.
Because it's all about how you treat them, you know?
I need them all to grow up. I need them all to grow up.
Grow up and get out.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think usually in that scenario where they don't grow up, they're kind of catered to and not held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So they never learn responsibility and having to actually do, if that makes sense, because there's always someone like spoon feeding them and trying to save them and help them, and there's no consequence because I'm here to save you. I think those are kind of those situations where they don't grow up.
Yeah. I think there was a movie out one time. I can't remember who was in it, but the movie was called Failure to Launch, and it was like about a grown man who just like, no matter what he did in life, he just kept coming back home to his parents to like fix his life. I'm gonna have to find it and I'm gonna send the clip to you. It was a romantic comedy basically, and he eventually finds like this woman and they fall in love and air quote live happily ever after. But his whole thing was about like he never had reason to be held accountable, to grow up and learn from life's lessons. Somebody is always there to catch them.
Right.
And then to connect those things. Sometimes the person who catches them is not the parents. It's somebody like me, the parentified older sibling or a parentified sibling, because it doesn't always have to be an older one, but it's like the one that the responsibility got put on that keeps, come on, and picking everybody up and trying to send them away, on their way.
Right.
And recently, I have found myself really exhausted by this behavior that I have. You ever seen in the cartoons where it's like somebody is drowning and then they get stood up and the water's like only like around their knees?
Shallow. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I keep jumping into pools to save people who, if they just stood up,
they'd be all right.
They'd be all right. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, so shame on them for not realizing all they need to do is stand up, and shame on me for keep jumping in to pick them up.
Yeah, why isn't the first instinct for you to try? That's just lack of trying.
Right.
Because they know you coming.
Right. So on top of being a parentified older sibling, I don't know the difference between being a helper and being an enabler.
Oh, you don't know where to draw the line.
I don't. It's so muddled. It is so muddled. It is not even funny.
Well, because you're just used to doing it.
It's second nature.
So it's hard. Yeah, it's second nature, and it's hard to stop because, I need to go help so-and-so because this is going on.
And again, it stems from the, if I don't do it, who will?
They are.
So we got some more comments. Thank you for that quick one. They are.
They got to figure it out sometimes. I'm just saying, we can't.
All right. Here we go. Coming in here, we got Miss Tierra Berry coming in. She says being the oldest sucks. Come on, T. It isn't always that bad. It isn't always that bad. Only when you get blamed for it. Only when you get blamed for their mess ups is it bad. But I want to give shout out and recognition to Miss Tierra Berry. If you are listening to this podcast, if you are watching this podcast, you should go on to Facebook and Instagram and find Sweets Rights, because every week, like clockwork, Tierra gives a dose of like a recap of these episodes.
A sweet dose.
A daily, and they are so dope. So thank you, sis, for that. Come on through with your shine. All right. I have nieces older than me, and I used to hate when they call me auntie.
But wait, why can I see Mel's face? Like, are you serious? You really trying to call me auntie?
What? Listen, she's in that category with Miss Oprah Winfrey and Miss Maya Angelou, and don't call me auntie.
Oh my gosh, that is funny.
Yeah.
No.
All right. We got one more comment coming in here. Miss Joyce in here said, it's simple. Give them the same energy as they give you in your time of need. Man.
Oh, hold on. Let's just have a moment of silence because that is all facts.
This
That is all facts. Overextending yourself for people who would not do it for you.
that was a gem drop.
That was a big gem.
Mm-hmm.
We need to drop that
The air bombs.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. You know what though? The one thing I will say about my siblings is that they, like, when we love hard. Like like, don't mess with, you know, one of us. If you, it's like one of those things, like if you mess with one of us, you mess with all of
All of
us.
us. Yeah.
You know, as my husband would say, be like, they form like Voltron on you. But when we have a common enemy, you know,
Yeah.
that's great. But when we don't have a common enemy, it could be a sticky situation.
Get that
Turn on
bad.
each other real quick.
You know, I wonder how much of the labeling that happens, like black sheep, prodigal,
Mhm.
um, parentifying, because that doesn't always have to fall on the oldest, and
No.
even the baby that doesn't grow up. How much of that is due to the action of the parents, or is it the siblings' treatment of them, or, you know, like how do these titles unfold and get like pinned to a particular sibling?
Well, some studies have shown that some of these titles get assigned based on birth order, but then there are also studies that say birth order has nothing to do with it. For example, you can have a parentified child and it not be the older sibling because maybe the older sibling was sickly themselves and, you know, they got parentified by helping to take care of that older sibling. um some of
Or
it has to
they're
do,
the baby that didn't grow up.
they're the baby that didn't grow up. um I think a lot of it does have to do with the being told that this is who we are by the elders.
True.
I think a lot of it has to do with that the elders put those titles on
Yeah.
us, and
Especially the
then we
oldest.
just automatically like, okay, well,
Fall
this
in
is who
line.
they said I am, and so this
Yeah.
is what I'm going to do,
Yeah.
before we even had opportunities to form our own personalities.
And know who we are. Absolutely. I
You
think
know,
that's true for the parentifying one, especially for the oldest. It's like you look out for your younger sibling. Listen, I've done it to mine. You know, I've got my kids are pretty close in age. I've got an 11-year-old that's 5'8".
mhm.
I got a 9-year-old, and I got my little guy will be 5 next month. And I tell her, if I'm like running to the store, listen, watch out for them. I'll be right back. It's never like an extended period of time, but I know if I tell her, she'll keep watch to make sure he doesn't try to do a backflip out of his little car he drives around.
Right.
Things like that. So I've done it, but there are definitely different levels to it.
So I I have been a victim of being parentified, but I've also been the parent who has parentified. So in doing the research for this show, I really had to look up and see what were some of the dynamics that label someone as being a parentified child. And then I realized that I had done it. So I'm gonna pull up my little notes here. You know, gotta keep gotta make sure we know what we're talking about. So a parentified child is often placed in situations of a parent, such as taking care of a sibling or a relative. Um, they're also put into adult situations such as mediating arguments and disagreements between their parents. And that's the one that hit me the hardest,
Really?
because my oldest daughter definitely tried her best to play mediator between her father and I throughout our relationship. Like at one point in time, there was definitely, probably when she was in her teens,
Okay.
where she was literally the third person in this relationship. Like it
Wow.
was, tell your father blah 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 blah. Tell your mother blah 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 blah.
She was the middleman.
She was the middleman. Um she was also, from the time she was 14, when I had baby girl, she was coming home from school and picking up Sienna and from after school, and picking up Jade from the babysitter. And if I worked late nights, I would have cooked before I went to work, but she would, heat up dinner that was left for them and then bathe them and then put them to bed, because I had to work and their dad just wasn't
Right.
there. And I remember distinctly having conversations with her, and she used to cry out about, like, this isn't fair, I don't get to spend time with my friends and everything. And I used to tell her that she wasn't doing anything different than any other, like, older brother or sister. Like, this is what I need you to do in order to help me take care of y'all.
You, yeah.
And so 15 years later, I can say that I effed up telling her that, because it wasn't her responsibility. It wasn't her responsibility to help me raise her siblings because their dad wasn't there. Um, and now, we've actually had conversation about it. I almost feel obligated to her to help her with Legend as payback.
Hmm. Yeah, but I understand you feeling like you messed up. Totally get that. But given the circumstances of what was happening at that time, what else could you have done?
Yeah,
Right.
it was.
I mean, I get, it from her eyes, it took away from her childhood. She wasn't able to hang out with her friends and go to places because she had to be responsible for her younger siblings. But had she not, how would that have impacted all three of them negatively, right? If she wasn't there to help. But I get it. I get it. I get why you did it that way, and I get why she feels the way she does. But
Mhm.
you can't beat yourself up inside for doing what you had to do to make sure you and your children were taken care of.
Right. It's one of those situations where we've talked about choices, and just because the choices that you're presented with, none of them are favorable, doesn't mean you didn't have a choice. And so it is one of those decisions. I really didn't have any other choices. My family tried to help out the best that they could, but there were just
Their
definitely
lives.
times where I needed her to step up and do this, you know.
Right.
Um, and then in some regards, it made her the more mature and responsible person amongst her
Okay.
group of friends, because she just really understood the seriousness of life when it came
The
down to certain
responsibilities,
things. Yeah, like
setting your priorities.
some of her friends were out there making, poor decisions and things like that. And she was like, yeah, I can't rock with you with that. Like, nah, I can't do this. I have another obligation. Like, I have to go get my sisters, or I'm not
Priorities.
out there wilding because this leads to, you know, people having kids and I'm already raising a kid. Like,
Right. Right. I mean, there's definitely, I always say it's all about your mindset in your situation, because we can always look at something and pick all the bad from it. But
mhm,
if you just take time to pull away from what good came out of it, it kind of changes the whole dynamic of it, because What would have happened if she didn't have those responsibilities? Would she have thought to tell her friends, no, I can't go do that? No, she
Mm,
probably would have been right up there with them and
mm,
maybe found herself in a compromising position. Like you just don't know. You just
yeah,
don't know. But we got to find the good in things sometimes, because I'm telling you, we could sit around all day and talk about the bad about stuff.
yeah. Oh, look, so we got a comment coming in here from our Shell Matt. Here comes Shell. As parents, we don't always get it right. I applaud you for acknowledging the error, apologizing, and having a conversation with your daughter about it. And I tell you, that's apologizing to your child once you realize that there was a wrong or an imbalance in the dynamic of your relationship. It can come at any point in time. Like you can apologize to little man, like if something happens and you see like his feelings are hurt
And
or
I do.
something was a disconnect, you
And I
apologize.
do. It makes a difference to acknowledge their feelings and recognize it and verbalize it. Because I was reading up on parentifying, and they were saying it was said that it can cause emotional instability
Mhm,
and lead to depression and disorders and eating disorders and other things.
mhm.
But I feel like those things happen in general with people when they don't learn how to express themselves and they feel like they're not important or their feelings aren't being acknowledged.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, so that is major that you actually had the conversation with her and then apologized. Absolutely, that makes a big difference.
Yeah. I really like it's one of those things like hindsight being 2020. I coulda, woulda, shoulda did things differently, but in my
Moment.
healing journey on my growth path, I've learned to stop shooting on myself. Like I can't change it. It is what
Nope.
it is. That is what happened.
Can't
I can only
move forward.
reset and restore from here and hope to build from, build from that.
Right.
So again, it's family inequities. Like no, it's not always fair. The other thing is the older siblings pointing out what the younger siblings are allowed to do
Get
that they
away
couldn't
with.
do. I wasn't allowed to do that. Mom and dad let you get away with everything.
Oh, you know how many times that was said to me? Do you know how many times that was said to me from my older siblings? My gosh. But the difference is they had each other to get in trouble with. By the time I came around, y'all were 10, 12 years old. By the time I could do anything, you guys were like teenagers. You know, you weren't thinking about me. Who was I
Right.
getting in trouble with and doing stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was told to me a lot.
And that has definitely been an argument on both sides that I've heard from the children. The older ones telling me that I let the younger ones get away with murder. Like
Right.
when I was their age and I did that, you did this, that, next, and another. And then the younger ones, like, oh, but you let so and so do this. So perfect example. Jay being 15, she wants piercings, she wants
Oh,
tattoos, she wants
girl.
all of these things here. I let Indigo, the oldest one, get her first tattoo when she turned 16. Jade is 15. She's like, well, can I get a tattoo next year when I turn? No, you can't. Why you let Indigo did it? Because I grew as a person and realized.
And I realized that wasn't a good idea.
I mean, it was one of those things where I felt like if I told her no, she would have probably done it behind my back and then, all that other stuff. So I
Right.
probably gave in on that. But like, no, just wait. Like, wait until you're 18, you're 21. So you have some things to talk about. Like, that you
Right.
did.
And
Don't
really think
burn out
about it.
all
This
the
is
fun now.
permanent. It's permanent. Think about it, girl. Think about it.
But yet, all the kids do is compare what they are and aren't allowed to get away with
Yep.
compared to what the other ones did. Like,
It
y'all
is so
can't
true.
tell me I was wrong in raising y'all one way and then complain that I don't allow that I'm not the
That I
same with
shifted
kids
and
anymore.
realized I needed to correct some things with you. And now you mad at me.
Right. Like, I'm damned if I do it. I'm damned if I don't.
Right.
Why don't y'all just go
Exactly.
raise yourselves?
Exactly. Exactly. That's why you got to do your best. And as you learn, you grow. That's it.
Yeah, all right. So we got some more comments coming in. They coming in hot. Here we go. We have P Train here says he's enjoying the discussion. As a father of three sons, I definitely had more responsibility to the oldest, hand more responsibility to the oldest, and he's going to college. Next man up. I don't see a problem. Thank you, P Train, for joining us and sharing that. And I'm pretty sure that oldest son, as he goes off to college, with some of his roommates and all that other stuff they run around, he gonna be questioning them like,
Yep. You're going to look at them like, what are you thinking? Right. And congrats to P Train for raising three sons and his son going off to college. That definitely should
exactly.
be something to be proud of for sure.
Thank you, Jen, for sharing that. All right. Shell Max says that part. My oldest always pointing out what the youngest get away with. But that's when I hit them with my management. And I'm like, stop worrying about what that one is or isn't getting away with. The same way I would tell my employees, stop worrying about what you think that one can and cannot get away with. If I fire this one, are you going to be on the unemployment line with them? So same thing. When this one get put on punishment, you want to get put on punishment with
You
them.
better worry about you. Stop checking
Right.
for the
Worry
other
about
person.
you and what it is you get away with, or what how your life is developing.
Yeah.
But man, them kids,
Yeah, they always pick that one thing like, ooh, I can't wait. She let them do this. Wait till I get that age.
you know what else? Uh-huh. Go
No, I
ahead.
was just gonna say I got my oldest a phone at 10 because she walks to school. School is
Mm-hmm.
walking distance. So we, wanted to make sure she got there, got home. So my second daughter just turned 9 and she's already talking about it.
When I turn 10, I'm getting my phone. I want the
No.
iPhone 37.
No, ma'am. Cause guess what? The 10-year-old, well, now she's 11, but she gonna get home before you, so she can let me know when you're home. Like, I don't need to get you a phone. She is not happy. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Another thing that I had a conversation with, so I've shared that I have twin brothers, and the two of them are on two totally different paths. And I'm like, how y'all end up like that? Y'all grew up in the same household. Like by the time they were, teenagers, the rest of us were out the house. And it was just them, mom, and so they were actually like latchkey kids. Like they had to come straight home from school and do their homework. Where my mom, when I was their age, was a stay-at-home mom, and she picked us up from school. She did all those things there, right?
Right.
In doing the research for this, what I actually learned is that regardless of how many people or how many children are in the household, even if they are twins, triplets, whatever, no two children actually grow up in the same household because of the dynamics of who they are, what their personalities are, and the connections that they have to each parent. Which takes me into our final topic, which is the family favorite. You got one? Who your favorite child?
Oh, my children?
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say they equally get on my nerves. I don't know if I I don't know if I have a favorite. And I've got different stages, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got the tween who's starting to feel like, I'm it. I
Mm-hmm.
got the 9-year-old who's trying to figure it out and is like sassy but falling apart. And I got the 5-year-old that don't listen. So right now, everybody is working the only nerve I got.
We used to ask something like, "Mommy, who's your favorite?" She used to hit us with the one that needs me the most right now. Man, we all need you.
Exactly. So you all have favorite.
But we had a conversation about this after my dad passed. And it was, I'm gonna say it was a conversation that was kind of sparked a little bit by some libations. So there was some free flowing tongues there.
It was the water.
They Jesus turned the water into wine.
Oh
So
God.
at one point in time, everybody was sitting there talking about I was my mother's favorite. I'm like, no, I'm not. And so here comes the oldest of the boys. He's there. He's like, you mommy favorite. And my sister turned around and she was like, listen here, golden child. You know you mommy and daddy. She called him the golden child.
We gotta look that one up. Oh gosh.
Golden child. I think she got that from Papoose and Remy Ma because that's what Pat was calling the baby Remy.
Yes, that's right. He
But
was.
that boy, let me tell you, that boy, my parents, like he was my father's first son.
Okay.
He was like the first one, like he just did so many first things and everything like that, even though he was number 4 in the succession of kids. But that first boy,
Hits different.
it was different. And so even as a grown man, yes, Tyrone, when you watch this podcast later, yes,
Name
the
dropping.
golden child, he is the favorite. I tell you, mommy can come to me about something and I could give her the soundest of advice. You know, she gonna go and ask how he could give her the same advice, and she gonna be like, you know,
Yeah,
that's
that
good
makes
advice.
sense.
Mommy, I told you that 2 weeks ago.
But the source is different.
You know what? The family favorite. Woo! He get on my nerve.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. Do you have a favorite though?
So everybody knows that it's not that she's my favorite, but there is a very deep connection between me and baby girl. So
Okay.
um she was a surprise baby, and then she almost killed me coming into this world. So I had to have a C-section that had some complications in it, and you know, one of us almost didn't make it out of the delivery room. And so with her being the surprise baby, I was like, listen, God put you here and chose me as this vessel for a reason. So there is a lot of investment into Jade that I didn't have in the other girls, but it's also listening to what they said. So Jade has been part of dance, she's part of band, Jade travels, Jade does things because I heard the other kids, the other daughters say like they wish they had opportunity to do those things. So in essence, I'm going to say the family has helped put Jade in the favorite position because they also feed into that with her.
Okay.
Now the only thing is, as she's turned 15 and she's not starting to feel and smell herself. She feels and smells herself. I love this little girl. I love her with my whole heart. There isn't anything that I would not do for her, but there are days that I do not like her.
That's part of the parent handbook. If you have not experienced that yet, just
if
wait.
you have not experienced the part where you have not you love your child, you don't like them as a person right now, you're not parenting them right.
That's
They're
right.
not getting
I have a bonus baby. She's 19. And so the phases that my now 11-year-old is going through, my husband and I'll say, remember when she went through that? She like, it's almost like mirror the things that they're doing. I'm like, yep, I ain't like her then. I don't like this one either. Yeah. So I get it.
Listen, he's scared. But, and I'm gonna take it back to, you know, the encouraging words that Shell gave earlier. My biggest concern in all of this parenting of these children, whether or not they have been parentified, they're the baby who's not growing up, they're the black sheep and the outcast of the family, whatever it is, I want to love and embrace them as individuals because I don't want them 10 or 15 years from now sitting in therapy saying that in their growth, I didn't support or encourage them, or
Right.
I wasn't there for them.
Right.
I need that not to be the reason that they're in therapy was my parenting.
I know a lot of people struggle with doing what they think their parent expected of them,
Mhm.
and it's not necessarily what they wanted to do. Right? So I
Yeah.
agree with you with that. I try to focus on who they are and their personalities and what I know they're interested in, not force them to do things because I think is what they should do, right? But kind of encourage and let them experience the things they're expressing interest in.
Yeah.
I get that because the last thing I want them to do is be trying to live their life for me based on what they think I want for them.
Exactly. You
It won't
know,
make them happy.
these little people, they are born to us, but I think their personalities are already planted. We just have
Right.
to
Nurture
parent them.
and help them develop it. Yeah.
So here we go. We got a couple more comments that came in. Natima Cherie said, oh, so we can.
I'm gonna need you to stop talking about my little boo.
Yeah, listen, if people could be up here talking about F them kids and all that other stuff, what they really mean is, I don't like this child right now. That is
Just
the
for the
PC
moment.
way of saying it. I don't like this child right now. But yes, listen, because at the end of the day, these kids are also saying here, they be like, I don't like
Can't
you.
stand you. That's right.
I hate you, mom.
Absolutely.
They don't really hate you. They hate what you're not allowing them to do.
They can't
or
get away
allow
with
them to be.
That's right.
So yes, we can. Yes, we can. It is in this space at the Hustle and Shine podcast, at the Diamond Heist with the Diamond Writers. It is safe to say, yeah, I didn't like my child today.
That's right. But I still fed them.
I still
They're
fed
sleeping
them.
in their bed tonight, and they got clean clothes to school
I still spoke positive affirmations
That's
into
right.
them. Yes, but today I didn't like them.
I still told them I love you.
Oh, look, she came back. She said, I love her. She was somebody else's child.
I hate to say this, but don't read no more of the Queen Prince.
Who kid is this?
Not that I'd be mad at the parent. Oh my God.
Who kid is this? Now, you ever been someplace in the public and you see somebody kid acting out, you be like, who kid is this?
And what is wrong with you that they act like this? Yeah, I get that.
Nah, that's when you blame it on the other person from the creation. Be like, that's your child.
They get that from their daddy side.
Yeah, they get that from they get that from the other side of the family. That ain't my side of the family. I ain't owning that.
Oh man, that is hilarious.
Jessica, thank you. My oldest makes me rethink life.
But rethink life, don't you?
Is that bad?
It can't be.
You're gonna have to give us a little bit more context with that. What was the most recent thing that had you rethinking?
Well, how old are they?
Right? Because all of that is relevant. Because you know, a teenager will test you. Like, it gets to a point in time where sometimes, like I said, baby girl, she's 15, she bigger than me. I'd be like, you know what? This ain't child abuse. This a fair fight.
No.
And you want to know something? My kids actually will tell each and every last person, like, my mother, she'll yell, she'll scream, she'll threaten to throw our stuff away, but my mother has never laid hands on us. Like, I just didn't want to be that parent. And
I agree.
If there are some parents who choose to use different forms of corporal punishment or physical punishment to rear their children, as long as you're not sitting here, Penny from Good Times, beating them with irons and stuff like that, you know, do you. Sometimes some kids need a hand laid on them. Some kids need that gentle parenting. That's all the trend right now. I personally do not have any gentle parenting children. If I gently parented any of my children, I would be rethinking life every day too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. I don't agree with the laying the hands. That I mean, that's you know, everybody thinks differently,
Hmm.
but I need them to understand there's consequences for their actions. So I make that clear.
Yeah, I definitely wanted my children to more respect me
That's
as their
right.
parent and their authority figure than
That's
to
right.
fear me, because I feel like it's my responsibility as a parent to help develop conscious thinking and critical thinking of like why things aren't happening. So like that's my favorite question whenever the kids act up, like, why did you do that? Explain to me what was your thinking? Like why?
Right. Make that make sense, please.
Make the math. Like why would you do that?
Right.
And then help me down your thought path so I could help you figure out where you went wrong, you know.
Yeah,
But
because we
yeah.
want them to think about what they're doing before they do it. That's
Like,
important. Instead of just jumping on them. Like that doesn't help.
no.
Doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. It's not going to necessarily help in all of their development. And I don't know all of the statistics and things about like how that shows up for them in their adult lives, and expecting their boss to always like yell at them or write them up or whatever it is. I just know that helping them to develop critical thinking so that they understand where they went wrong versus like telling them they did something wrong and then beating them for them, or whatever. Even if you don't beat them, you put them on punishment, but they still need to understand why they're in trouble, like
Right.
why a rule was in place
Absolutely.
and why breaking it is the result of this, is the cause of this punishment,
Right.
instead of just like, you messed up, da 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 da, go to your room. No, let's
Yeah.
think this through.
You have to encourage them to express themselves and think. It's so important.
Wait, look, Natima back
Is the
over
team
here. Look,
back?
Natima back. She said I was able to gentle parent Araya, but I have to be.
Gangsta.
She said Amaya, no limit soldier.
Oh, and not the gangster parenting. I need that book.
So
Leave Amaya alone.
yes. All right. And we're going to come in with one more comment here. We got Tiara says, it also saves you. If they understand, they are less likely to repeat the behavior. And that's the important part.
That's right.
You know.
That's
But
right.
with
Make them
that
think
being
twice.
said, with that all being said, Natima showing that there's a different dynamic in raising her two daughters.
Yep.
We didn't put any labels on them on whether somebody is a favorite or, the black sheep or the baby or whatever it is. But there will be different stories when they get older that Amaya and Araya will look back and talk about, what role they played in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I want us to begin to think about when it comes down to parenting, when it comes down to who we are as individuals, is our parents did the best they could with what they had. Now, I'm going to keep saying that. I'm going to keep saying that. And that also means we as parents are doing the best we can with what we have. And all we can do is each day learn
That's right.
and hope that the children understand that we mean no harm in what it is that we're trying to do in rearing them. Nothing is perfect. And sometimes they really don't get that until they become a parent themselves.
Oh, so true. That I say that till this day.
So
About my mom.
that infamous curse that every mother put on their child, I can't wait till you have a child just like
Just
you.
like you.
I don't know who said that first, but it is the curse that keeps on cursing.
It's true though. It's true, because that's when you really get it. It clicks. Oh, now I understand what she was talking about. I say that a lot now.
Yeah.
But it happens.
And once I had children who were just like me, I went back to my mother and apologized.
Did you?
I did. I was like, Mommy, if my children were only as bad as me, you got off easy, because these girls,
They cut from that different cloth?
they cut from a different cloth, made out of a different batter. The recipe got burnt. Like, I don't know where they came from. I don't know it, but I know there's a purpose for them being here, and it's going to be my
Absolutely.
responsibility to get them to help support them get into that role.
That's right.
Right. You got a final thought, some hot water for the people to steep in and walk away with this evening on parenting and family iniquities?
I'm going to say be careful with labels. You know, like don't label your child or press them. Don't press them. Like, learn who they are and adjust. Like, just like Tima pointed out, like she had to do different things depending on the child and the child's behavior. It happened to me growing up as well, you know, but don't make them feel bad about who they are. Allow them to grow and nurture that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So we're getting ready to close out our final episode of the Diamond Heist for this season. It has been great heisting with you.
Yes, it's always good energy. I enjoy it so much.
It is. And so stay tuned. There's going to be more coming, and better shows and more topics and more diamonds coming into the space. But
yes.
Before that happens, make sure you get your tickets to the Diamond Standard in Atlanta coming up in, girl, 11 days.
Not that she's counting.
Oh my God. Not that I'm counting. 11 days. It
went by fast, though. It did go by fast.
We were just in the planning stages, and now here it is.
Just talking about it, figuring out what was happening, and here we are.
Like, I remember when we didn't have a title for this event.
Right.
We were sitting there trying to figure out what we were going to call it. Right. And now here it is. 11 days
valid
away.
Transparency.
Yes.
So excited.
So, books are available on Barnes & Nobles, on Amazon, and through the Diamond Writers website. Tickets for the Diamond Standard are still available. Limited tickets are still available. Go to our website, www.diamondwriters.com/events. Purchase that gem ticket, that VIP ticket, so you can get the all-inclusive and totally experience this whole event for the magic and wonder that it is. And make sure that you go and follow the Diamond Writer pages on Instagram and Facebook. And you go on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Go and catch those repeat playbacks on Spotify. And when we come back in August, you'll be ready to jump into this hot tea. You'll be able to jump into all of the heisting with the Diamond Writers. So until next time, don't forget to hustle and shine.
Hope to see y'all in ATL.
You better be there.
I'm busy.
Good day.
Good night.